This is Dubs OT.
Can't wait.
With John Dickinson.
Hey, JD, what you up to, sugar? Long time no talk to.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live at KNBR.com and on the KNBR app.
9 assists as well. He just okay.
What is going on here? What is absolutely happened? The greatest shooter our game has ever seen is perfect from downtown.
Yeah, it was a vintage Stephen Curry night inside Chase Center, and a laugher for the Golden State Warriors, a rare laugher indeed, as Stephen Curry, spectacular, playing with the sprained thumb on his shooting hand, all taped up. How long is Steph going to keep the tape on that thumb after going 8 for 8 from three-point range, scoring 30 points in 30 minutes to begin 2025. TNT on the call there as we welcome you into Dubs OT with JD John Dickinson. Warriors with the 139-105 victory over the Philadelphia 76ers. Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome in here from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. 808 KNBR, the number, 415-808-5627 to join the conversation. Give us a call or shoot us a text here on this Thursday and our first Dubs OT of 2025. And no drama, drama-free. Nice win, bounce back after a couple of days off, and an ugly performance on Monday against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And look, we'll try to keep a positive spin to it. I mean, it's 2 out of 3 in the win column for the Warriors as they look to get 2025 off with a bang and continue to separate from 500, at least try to again, as they now are 1 over 500. No, not going to wait for the Steph Curry numbers until Fun with Numbers. 6th 30-point game of the year for Curry. 5th double-double this season for Curry. His 2nd 30-point, 10-assist double-double of the season. It was the most three-pointers Stephen Curry's ever made in a game without a miss. 8 three-pointers. Previously had 2 games where he went 6 for 6. And one of them was last April. The other one was in his rookie season. 15 years ago Sunday, January 5th of 2010, for Steph to begin a game going 6 for 6, or the most he made in a game without a miss, and the longest streak to begin a game without a miss for Steph Curry tonight. And yeah, that is the single game record for most without a miss is 9. And that's happened 4 times. Ben Gordon did it a couple of times, the old Piston and Chicago Bull. Jalen Brunson and Latrell Sprewell did it as well. That's 9. Steph with 8, which is his career best in this one, as the Warriors on cruise control, taking advantage of a Sixers team that, hey, what's going on? Good to see you. Sixers team that last night blew a lead in Sacramento late, got outscored 15-0 down the stretch in that one. And the Warriors jumped Philadelphia, who got Joel Embiid back after skipping out on that game last night. Embiid not playing in back-to-backs, and this was the nationally televised game, so Embiid had to be out there, and the Warriors just jumped on Philly red hot from the start. The ball movement was there. The Warriors assisted on every bucket they had in the first quarter. The ball was zooming. It was 13-4. Dennis Schroeder was making shots tonight, for crying out loud. Dennis Schroeder hit his first 3 three-pointers. The Warriors looked energized. They look rested. They look refreshed. Again, the ball was hopping. Curry hit his first shot of 2025, and again would not miss a 3 at all in this one. The pace was good. Jonathan Kuminga came in and made an impact off the bench immediately. Couple of layups off of the Warriors' offensive action and some of the gravity made by the offensive sets. Then got a three-point make off Embiid. He was cooking early, set up Buddy Hield for a 3 early, and at the end of the first quarter, the Warriors had the lead 35-19. They made 7 of 12 from three-point range, and they assisted on every basket that they had in the first quarter of this one. Also, the Sixers, as great as the Warriors were, 7 of 12 from 3, the Sixers were 0 for 7 and 7 of 21 Warriors forcing 5 turnovers. Just complete domination of a team that blew a lead late and wasn't quite ready to roll here on the second of a back-to-back with the Warriors rested, and they jumped Philadelphia, and really it carried throughout the entire night in this one as the Warriors led from start to finish in this game and win it 139-105. So 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Again, that's the number to give us a call or shoot us a text here, Dubs OT with JD. If you want to react to this one as we come to you from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City, and the Warriors improving their record to 1-0 in 2025 and 17-16 overall. Some other thoughts from this one. Warriors continuing to hit three-pointers, building a 10 of 15 mark middle of the second quarter. Warriors led by as many as 19 in that quarter. Lindy Waters came in and was making threes. Buddy Hield had missed 23 out of 25 before he made a three. Waters had been 2 of 17 in the last 4 games he had played in, and he knocked down his first 2 immediately. And the Warriors, again, just some great contributions in this one, led by Stephen Curry, but there was offensive balance everywhere. You look up and down this Warriors roster, among those who played 15 or more minutes, every single player made a three among the Warriors that played 15 or more minutes in this game, except for Trace Jackson-Davis, who obviously you don't ever want to have shooting three-pointers unless it's an absolute emergency situation, shot clock going down, ball finds him. And so the Warriors got 15 apiece from Wiggins and Draymond Green. They each made a three. Excellent Jonathan Kuminga game. Really loved this Jonathan Kuminga game. It's an understated Jonathan Kuminga game. Confident, but understated. Efficient, good defense, passing. He got his offense early at the rim, as we talked about, off of the Warriors' movement and actions. Then he knocked down a couple of threes, including the one where Joel Embiid just dared him to shoot it early. Sixers dared him a couple of times. He took the shots confidently, and then he attacked more, put it on the deck from the perimeter into the lane, got his own a little bit more, like he likes to do as the game went on. As things opened up for him, it made it easier for him to attack with more freedom. And all in all, just a great night for the Warriors as you look at 22 three-pointers made. But I look at the ball movement as well. 41 assists for the Warriors in a game where they had 53 makes. They shoot 60.9% overall, including the 22 of 39 from three. Didn't shoot a ton of threes in this one, but did it at a phenomenal clip. And, yeah, the rebounding numbers were there for the Warriors. The assist numbers were there for the Warriors. You look at the turnovers, 12. When you get 41 assists to 12 turnovers, I mean, that is excellent. 12 is always the number that Steve Kerr puts as the baseline for what he considers to be an excellent game. If you can that 10 to 12 turnover range, and the Warriors, not a lot of ball pressure from Philadelphia, but some great ball movement without too much sloppiness. And it all adds up to a kind of win that the Warriors just have not had much of. You know, we talk every night seemingly on this show about all of the close games and clutch games. And I mean, tonight, just an epic and legendary performance for Stephen Curry with the 8 of 8 from three in front of the national audience. Some of the question or discussion of the day league-wide was the all-star voting, where Steph not among the top couple of guards with the game to be played in the building behind me here coming up in about 6 weeks. And Steph letting them know that he's still very much an all-star caliber player, and the Warriors earning this victory. So a lot to like about this one. 808 KNBR. It's also the kind of win, as we do every night, it's the kind of win that makes you think, oh, does this team have a little something in them as they're currently constituted? Tonight, a vote for that, although I think when you look, and we'll get into this coming up, at some of the other league-wide headlines surrounding Jimmy Butler tonight. Jimmy Butler stole the show from everybody, I think, across the NBA tonight with the report now that he's formally asked for a trade. So we'll get into that coming up a little bit later. Jimmy saying, hey, I'll go anywhere. And so, the Warriors would like to be in that mix for Jimmy Butler, but you'd have to give up a lot in a deal to look to acquire Jimmy Butler. But all in all, regardless of the big picture and what the Warriors do at the deadline, tonight was a shot across the bow from Steph Curry after a difficult couple of weeks. After a couple of weeks where, and historically, he doesn't shoot it well for whatever reason in December, but it's January now, and Steph came out, new month, all taped up with that thumb that popped up in the game on Monday night, and he was on the injury report as questionable. And Steph has one of the best, if not the best game of his entire season, and the Warriors able to blow out the Philadelphia 76ers 139-105. Let's get to the YouTube chat. Appreciate everybody watching on YouTube. Welcome. After the night off for Dubs OT on Monday night, great to have everyone back. And I know we debated, and we've got Kyle Haar in our San Francisco studios. We debated whether we were going to have a show or not on Monday. And given the way the Niner game went, and then we were monitoring the Warrior game, and they're down. It looked promising early, and then they go down second quarter, and it's starting to get late. It's like, no, we're not going to do this to ourselves. We're not going to do this to the people. We're going to call it. We just called it. Preemptive strike, end of 2024. We'll see you on Thursday. And as much as we missed everybody, Kyle, it's great to get it back kick-started here with a. I've forgotten what a blowout win even looks like for the Golden State Warriors. When's the last blowout win they had?
Yeah, no, exactly. Oh, no, it's so nice to see, Guy Santos, Pat Spencer, and unlike the Cavs game where they came in at like the 6-minute mark, but in the 8-minute mark of this game, they checked in. And it's so nice for the Warriors to be on the winning end of that instead of the losing end.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going back because, you can count the wins, right? They had the 2 wins against Minnesota. None of those were blowouts. They had the 1 win against the Rockets, which was their other win in the 3-12 stretch. That game wasn't a blowout. Won that game by 6. I mean, I'm going back. When was the last? I mean, really, when was the last blowout? Maybe the Memphis game at Chase. The last time Memphis was here, November 15th. I mean, that again off the top of my head, trying to think of just game. Regardless, it hasn't been there. For the Warriors, and they've been locked in all these clutch games, and they've been not winning majority of these clutch games as well. So tonight, kind of a 2025 palate cleanser as we welcome everybody in the YouTube chat. Some quick ones here early in the YouTube chat. Robert, good win, but means nothing unless this sparks a winning streak. Well, the time is now as far as a winning streak goes. They're going to get the Grizzlies at Chase on Saturday night. They get the Sacramento Kings, who surprisingly have won 2 of their first 3 with Doug Christie as the head coach. They were down 9 with about 3 minutes to go against the Sixers team last night, and Sacramento scored the final 15 points of the game to rally and win. So they're going to be at Chase after they play the Grizzlies tomorrow night. Will be at Chase. The Kings and Warriors are on this thing where the Kings play a team, and then the Warriors play a team. And then the Kings play a team, and then the Warriors play a team. It was Philly the last 2 nights. It's the Grizzlies the next 2 nights. And then it's Miami after the Warriors and Kings play each other on Sunday at Chase Center. Miami goes to Sacramento and then comes to the Bay to face the Golden State Warriors after that. But they'll be at Chase on Sunday. And then, Miami coming in before the Warriors go on the road and face Detroit and Indiana and Toronto. I mean, there are some winnable games coming up. And look, there are a lot of home games coming up here in January. The 4 beginning with tonight, and the Warriors have already not maybe made the most of this home stretch after losing the game to Indiana and the Christmas game to the Lakers before going down to L.A. and dropping that one and then coming back to beat Phoenix. I mean, it's 3 out of the last 4 here over the last week before the game tonight. But you've got these 4 games, and then you got a bunch of games at the end of January that are going to have to be games where the Warriors look to push themselves forward. Might have been Steph's best game, says Robert. Yeah, I would agree with that. San Jose Jazz fan 4, what did we learn tonight? 3-pointers are more valuable than free throws. That's a fact. And, tonight is one of those, I think, evening of the balance sheet kind of a games, because the Warriors had been so cold so frequently. And then, of course, the last massive game they had from 3-point range, they ended up losing. And so you want to end up, having the ability to win. You hit 20 plus, you need to win in the NBA. Point blank, bottom line, into story. You need to win if you're going to hit 20 plus from 3-point range. And the Warriors have been unable to win consistently enough in a lot of these games. Yeah, go back to that Mavs game where they end up, both teams end up close to the record, 27 threes, and you can't win that game a couple of weeks ago. And that really was the last time it felt like the Warriors were on one from distance. But new month sometimes changes things. It truly does. And so I think the Warriors are hoping for a little bit of a leveling off in terms of, a team that got off to a great start shooting and just have been, I think, bottom of the league here the last few weeks, 30th out of 30. And so tonight a bounce back on that particular note. Erwin Kwong checking in the chat. Great way to start the new year with a win. JD and crew. Yeah, we got Kyle Haar in our studios here. San Jose Jazz fan 4. Mrs. Jazz fan says, smile, JD. All right. Well, I think they were watching before we got on. Yeah, try to smile. Try to smile. Rebel to Sounds. What up, JD? Happy New Year. Yes, Happy New Year to everyone. Cheers. Cheers. Hey, cheers to you, my friend. What's your name? Chris, come on over. Just say hi to the people. We got Chris. Yep. Pay Kuminga. I don't know about Pay Kuminga. We'll see. Curry was 8 for 8 from 3. Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you so much. Always good. We get the folks checking in. Want to give them their camera. Although Pay Kuminga, and he's still a fan. He says Pay Kuminga, and he's still a fan. We'll see. I mean, tonight is the kind of night that makes you want to pay Kuminga when he can. I love the understated Jonathan Kuminga games. Like tonight was one of my favorite games of his of the season because he got his 20. He did it really efficiently. He was a major part of the action, but he didn't stand out necessarily like he needed to be a major part of the action for the Warriors to be successful. Yet in the context of everything else the Warriors had cooking, he got a real quiet 20 like that. I mean, that's impressive as hell. And the way he is, I thought the other things besides the points tonight were really good too. The ball movement, looking to create for others. He set Buddy Hield up for a 3 that was real nice. He's being much more patient. He's taking shots with confidence when teams dare him to. I loved Kuminga's game tonight. Tonight is the kind of game that does make you, again, not look at the stardom or anything like that, but hey, this guy can be, again, doing it off the bench so they can start Draymond Green at the 4 and Trace Jackson Davis at the 5. In the context of winning basketball, that was a winning Jonathan Kuminga game. And so I think, that's the kind of game where if he winds up being around for the remainder of the season, you can have some action and win a lot of games. So I loved one of my, I don't know if it is my favorite, but it was one of my favorite, probably top 3 Jonathan Kuminga games of the season because it was understated and efficient, and it wasn't just about the scoring, although he did score 20. Excellent game. San Jose Jazz fan 4 asking a question is, the Warriors pulled the starters, as Kyle said, about 7.5, 8 minutes to go. Everybody's out. And again, the Warriors have not had many of these this year and haven't had really any in like the last 6 weeks since early in the year. A couple of those road games in Portland and Utah, those games turned into blowouts. And we were talking about, Steph only played 25 minutes. Steph only played 27 minutes. He's going to be fresh all year. So, JD, did you want Steph to hoist another 3 and try to tie Sprewell at 9 for 9? I mean, I felt like he had 2 or 3 heat checks when he was working his way up from 4 for 4 to 7 to 7 to 8 for 8. I thought he had a couple of heat checks mixed in there. But yeah, when Steph gets on a heater like that, you always want to see Steph continue to see how far he can take it. I mean, tonight truly is one of those nights where sitting in Chase Center and watching it, even as a media member covering the game and getting ready to do the show, I mean, tonight is one of those games where you file it away in the back of your mind and you kind of think to yourself, you're watching an all-time great. You're watching a legend and the greatest shooter of all time at the peak of his powers. I mean, tonight is one of those that it really, it's bigger than just, the Warriors won a game in January to get to 17 and 16. It's like, no, that was in the pantheon of great Stephen Curry games. And there's been so many that, this one definitely doesn't rank probably at the, in the top 10, 15, 20, maybe even 40 of his career. But it's right up there with a spectacular performance overall and an unforgettable one. And I think for all the ones that are on the top 10, 20, 40, there have been another probably 40 like tonight that are great, but maybe not out of, legendary great, right? But I think, he invents new categories, I think, for his great games to be put into because he's had so many of them. But, yeah, 8 for 8. You saw something that Steph Curry had never done before in his career tonight, even as he approaches the age of 37 coming up here in March, and even coming off of a month where, let's be honest, December had been very difficult for Stephen Curry. He did not shoot it well. The knees are barking. People are kind of wondering what's going on. Is this maybe part of the natural aging process and aging decline? And I think when Steph does what he does tonight, it's a rousing shout to the moon. No, that he's still here and can do that again. Maybe not as frequently as he used to, but he's definitely still got those games in him. And it was on full display. And this one, as Rebel to Sound says, Curry was amazing on a night where the whole team played great. Yeah, just finish. Excellent game from the Golden State Warriors. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. If you want to jump in and join the conversation on the phone lines, you can. The Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line is open as well, as it is Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader. Warriors win it 139-105, and we'll see if they can string a few together. The next couple of games at Chase, they've got the back-to-back with Saturday and Sunday. Going to tell the story. Point blank. And right now the Warriors are, I think, in a race to get themselves to figure out what the ceiling for this team can be as the trade speculation continues to surround them. But tonight, again, maybe an outlier, certainly an outlier over the course of the last month, but one of those games that makes you think. I think January is going to tell the story because the trade deadline is February 6th. And I don't see the Warriors necessarily waiting around until February 6th to make moves. I think if they feel that there's a move to be made, they're going to jump. And so every one of these games impacts that at this point, whether it's, hey, there's something forming with this team again to where they can get on a run, whether it's something, individual performances that lead to another team maybe being, desiring a player on the current roster or multiple players on the current roster. All of these things factor in and are a big part of the night-to-night equation. But for tonight, independent of all of that, for tonight, it truly is about the greatness of Stephen Curry and the ability for everyone to just dub the Warrior fans and Dub Nation, everybody just kind of just exhale a little bit and not have to stress about clutch games and execution down the stretch and 30th offense in the NBA throughout stretches of December. And so kind of a refreshing way to start 2025, even though it may not be entirely sustainable. Irwin Kwong, it looks like the game is finally slowing down for Kuminga. Question remains how consistently he can play like tonight. Like, I think tonight's the high end of the high end. I really do. Like, I think the games like tonight for Kuminga are more important than the 34-point games. And he was really, excellent, I thought, in the Suns game. The Clipper game, whatever, that was a different kind of 34-point game. Those I'm less enamored with when it's kind of just him and it's kind of a slog and he's really the only one out there that can do it. The games where he fits in the context of everything else the Warriors are trying to accomplish and Steph's doing his thing and others are scoring in double digits and the three-point shot is not maybe at a 22 make level or a 56% level, but you're in that, 15 to 17 range and the ball is moving and good decisions are being made and the Warriors are active and they're not turning it over. Like these are the kinds of games. And I agree, it does look like the game is slowing down a little bit more and more the last couple of weeks. These are the games that make me more apt to want to keep Kuminga. When he can fit his game in the box and still get his numbers and contribute to winning and contribute to others throughout the roster being in the flow that also contributes to winning. 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. Again, the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line. Robert, Philly looked like they didn't give an F. Yeah, they kind of did. And, I mean, they look like a team that was still a little ticked off that they blew the game last night in Sacramento and wanted to play this game with that game in hand and weren't ready at the beginning, even though they were getting their best player back. I mean, Embiid didn't play in the game last night. He doesn't play back-to-backs, and with the NBA television rules, and this was the first now with the NFL done with Thursday Night Football for this year, and we move into January, no more Thursday Night Football means TNT, at least for the next 3 months, takes over Thursday night, and the NBA takes over Thursday night in terms of the marquee games. And so this was a marquee game. So if Embiid ain't going to be playing back-to-backs, then he had to sit last night because they don't want you sitting in the games that are nationally televised as this one on TNT. So, yeah, Philly definitely didn't have it tonight. Embiid just, I mean, like he's playing in freaking slow motion. I mean, really, all the fouls and just getting to the free throw. I mean, it was just, I felt like every time I looked up, Embiid was at the free throw line. Like every time there'd be a break in the game, the Warriors are kind of cooking. Everybody's hitting three-pointers, and then there'd be kind of a stoppage. And every time I'd kind of look down at my computer to type myself some notes, oh, there's Joel Embiid at the free throw line. What did Embiid end up with tonight in terms of free throws, looking at it now? Yeah, 14 attempts. It felt like it was 14 attempts in the first half. I think it was actually like 5 or 6 at the time I looked at it. But Warriors making life difficult on Embiid. I thought Trace Jackson-Davis was a real presence early in the game. Draymond did a nice job against him as the game went on. And all told, again, the Warriors were just energetic tonight. They were springy. They were bouncy. The ball was zipping. They looked like a rested and refreshed team coming off of a couple of days off. But how about this? Steve Kerr, the Warriors did have a practice on New Year's Day, which I can't remember the last time the Warriors had a practice on New Year's Day. They have a few times played on New Year's Eve, although not a lot. And typically they've been off New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And they play like on the 30th as they did this year and get those 2 days and then come back, and they've played on the 2nd, I think just about every year I can remember. But the Warriors typically, if they get the New Year's Eve, New Year's Day off, Steve has been giving them both of those days off to basically go have a good time and then recover from having a good time. And they actually had a practice yesterday. He did give them New Year's Eve off, but they had a practice yesterday and then got back at it tonight. And they just looked like a team that had worked on some stuff. But, yeah, Philly looked like – it looked like the Warriors caught Philly on the right night. And, yeah, Joe Schmo pointing out that the one Trace Jackson-Davis field goal made was the dunk over Joel Embiid and his mask. It was an excellent pull there from our buddy Joe Schmo. So 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. Let's go ahead and take our first time out. We'll come back. We'll get to the phone lines. We'll get to the text line. Stop by, say hi if you're at Harmonic Brewing here in Thrive City. Still very much a holiday feel on this holiday week with New Year's Day right in the middle of everything. We got a busy week of Dubs coverage coming up for you here on KNBR with games on Saturday and Sunday. But we want to hear from you. What do you make of this one? Refreshing? Does it change anything? I mean, it's silly to even kind of ask that question. I think the Warriors are still looking to make moves, but for who? For what? We'll get into Jimmy Butler, who stole some of the league-wide headlines, coming back here as well. More from the YouTube chat. Warriors win it 139-105. It's KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Hey, Kuminga.
This is KNBR, and this is Dubs OT with John Dickinson, streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 104.5.
And he kicks it. And Moses Moody. And there's the assist number that he was looking for. Curry.
Double-double.
That's his 10th assist. And Green commits the foul to get this group off the floor. Special night. He has delivered so many special nights.
Yeah, and another one added to the list here tonight as the Warriors win 139-105. Back here, Dubs OT with JD from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Incredible Stephen Curry performance, 8 for 8 on threes, 30 points in 30 minutes, 11 of 15 overall. He had 10 assists and 6 boards, a game high plus 32 as the Warriors improved to 1-0 in 2025, 9-8 at home on the season, 17-16 overall, and now on to Memphis and Sacramento the next couple of games over the weekend. But an efficient performance for the Warriors. They knocked down 22 threes. The ball was zipping. The pace that the Warriors played at was high and from the jump. I mean, that's something that Steve Kerr's really been harping on over these last couple of weeks as the Warriors have struggled mightily offensively, that they need to play faster, that they need to get into their offense quicker. And at times, the fact that other teams have been hitting shots against them, it's led them to having to take the ball out of the net, and you're walking the ball up the court a little bit more. But the Warriors just really needing this breakout offensive game. But I think they came out and they put a purpose to it early on, and the ball movement and the shot making and the energy. And I think that set the tone for the whole night and in a real positive light for the Warriors to jump off to the 35-19 lead and really put this thing on cruise control on a special night for Stephen Curry and ultimately win it 139-105. Warriors won every quarter in this one. They tied the second quarter, but 35-19 in the first, 35-26 in the third, then a 36-point fourth quarter. I mean, you go for 35, 33, 35, 36. You're doing something right offensively, but the defensive tone was set early, and that's where the Warriors were able to build and maintain the lead. I think the closest Philly got was 10 in the second quarter, and the Warriors had a really nice late push. I thought that was one of the keys to the game. As the Warriors get off early to the 19-point lead, it gets tripped down to 10 mid to late second quarter, and the Warriors go on a run end of quarter number 2 right before the half, and they wind up pushing it right back up to 16 at the break, and they end up even in a quarter that it looked like they were going to lose for a good part of it, and then come out third quarter and put the game away, get the lead up into the 20s, and eventually the Warriors would lead by as many as 36 and win it by 34, 139-105. So 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Want to give a special shout out here at Harmonic Brewing. A couple of guys that didn't want to go on camera, Kyle. Joe and Jimmy, they were asking, and I'm going to ask you, Kyle. There were two questions going on at their table. It was Ariana Grande or Selena Gomez was the first question.
Ariana Grande.
And I said Ariana Grande as well, and they looked at me like I was going to they looked at me like I turned into a frog. Like they looked at me like I was a freaking alien. I did not think that was a crazy take, by the way.
I thought that would be the popular pick.
It was not. And it actually got me shunned by the table next to our folks, Joe and Jimmy. And then the other debate was, I think it was Jimmy wants to trade Draymond Green. And Joe was like, yeah, I would trade Kuminga and Wiggins before I would trade Draymond Green, which of course, I mean, that's the correct answer. Yeah. Yes, Kyle, those names sound made up. The Jimmys and the Joes. We got the Jimmys and the Joes here at Harmonic in Thrive City. But no, Ariana Grande was my selection. We can throw it out to the YouTube chat. And, of course, I'm much more in the trade Kuminga or Wiggins boat as opposed to Draymond Green. Draymond Green's not going anywhere.
Yeah. I think now with Kuminga having, 4 consecutive good games, I think now I'm leaning towards to trade Andrew Wiggins if I had to choose.
Yeah, I just don't. The reason I don't think you can move Wiggins is because Kuminga isn't Wiggins' replacement. If Kuminga was Kuminga's doing his thing at the 4, and to me you almost need them both, or you need to trade, or you need to trade them both if you want. And look, all this leads back to Jimmy Butler, right? Jimmy Butler had a post-game press conference for the ages tonight. Do we have the Jimmy Butler clip?
We do. We can play it now if you want.
Yeah, let's play the Jimmy Butler clip now because he stole the NBA headlines tonight with his post-game press conference. And I'm looking here at Miami. Miami tonight lost at home to Indiana, and Jimmy Butler played 27 minutes and scored 9 points. Indiana won 128-115. And then Jimmy Butler post-game, here's what he had to say about the state of things with the Heat.
I want to see me get my joy back from playing basketball, and wherever that may be, we'll find out here pretty soon. But I want to get my joy back. I'm happy here, off the court, but I want to be back to somewhat dominant. I want to hoop, and I want to help this team win. Right now, I'm not doing that.
Can you get your joy back here on the court?
Probably not.
So probably not as far as remaining in Miami and being able to get his joy back. And then after the press conference, moments after the press conference, the Shams report with Brian Windhorst dropped, courtesy of ESPN, where Jimmy Butler has notified the Heat that he wants a trade. And not only does he want a trade, he would go anywhere in the NBA to get out of Miami, as long as it's not Miami.
I'm happy here, off the court.
Off the court. I mean, who isn't happy off the court in Miami? I think we're all happy off the court in Miami. Kyle, you're happy off the court in Miami. I'm happy off the court in Miami. I'm happier off the court than when I actually have to work in Miami. I'll tell you that much. That's never been a question. But yeah, so he said he would go anywhere. Happy off the court, can't find his joy on the court, needs to go somewhere else. And yes, the reporting from Shams and Brian Windhorst, and Shams had already been all over this, but now it's a formal trade request. And so basically we'll see how Pat Riley responds. I mean, Pat Riley had said straight up, we're not trading him. This is a distraction. And look, if there's one guy I wouldn't want to go toe to toe with in a stare down, is the OG Pat Riley, even at pushing 80. Like, I would not want to be like Pat Riley is hardcore as they come. And I mean, I could see Pat Riley calling Jimmy Butler in tomorrow and saying, look, man, get a grip, get a grip. We're not trading you. And there is a debate to be had as to whether or not the Heat would be better off just letting his contract expire. Now, Butler's got an opt-in for next year at, I think, $52.4 million. He's right in the $46, $47 million range right now. And there's a case to be made that the Heat are better off just letting him go. They get more financial flexibility in terms of the cap, in terms of their exceptions. Their picks are tied up. So, there would be draft assets, I think, that they would want back. But I don't think the Heat would necessarily want salaries that are going to remain on the books for longer than this coming year, because Jimmy Butler likely obviously would be opting out now that he's demanding a trade. So he's trying to force his hand. The Heat, I think, are trying to get maximum value. And I think it's also been reported that the Heat looking more so for players that could help the team remain competitive, guys who could almost be stopgaps. So I know the Lakers and the Suns and the Rockets have all been suitors are rumored to have interest for Jimmy Butler, along with the Warriors, of course. And so we'll see how this thing shakes out as far as, do the Warriors look to get involved in the equation, and would they be willing to include Jonathan Kuminga in that deal? That would be the Kuminga and Wiggins deal, where both of them would have to go. Kuminga as a prospect, Wiggins as a guy who makes a salary that would be paired. And the Warriors would still have to throw more in the deal in terms of expiring money, but Wiggins has got a couple of years left on the deal. So I'm not sure that the Heat necessarily would want to bring Andrew Wiggins back, who, yes, doesn't have the salary of Jimmy Butler, but is under contract for a couple of years beyond this year. So that has to get factored into the equation. And then you're not going to want to miss what Draymond Green had to say in his post-game press conference, because Draymond did it. Draymond violated the J.D. Kuminga rule. It has to be about whether he's going to be a superstar or not. I'm looking, but that being said, and we don't have to get into that discussion, but if you think he's going to be a superstar, then obviously that changes the calculus as to whether you're going to include him in a trade for anybody. Now, maybe that's Draymond trying to hype up his value for other teams. I don't know. Maybe it's Draymond trying to hype the young fella who's playing some of the best basketball of his career up. Again, tonight's not a night where I'm looking to ship Jonathan Kuminga out. And every game that he plays, like tonight, like the game Saturday night, let's not forget he did have a poor game against Cleveland mixed in there. I know we didn't have a Dubs OT, but so it's 2 of the last 3 for Kuminga that have been excellent, and 3 of the last 4 if you want to throw in the Clipper game. He's playing his best basketball maybe of his entire Warrior tenure here over the last couple of weeks. Even though there have been some clunkers in December, he still has had a lot of his best games over the course of the last month. That's undeniable and indisputable. So every one of those games, and again, tonight are the games that make me more reluctant. I'm not going to lie. It's not the Clippers games. It's not the Houston game. The games that make me less reluctant or more reluctant to trade Jonathan Kuminga, less reluctant to include him in a deal. The games that make me more reluctant to do a deal are the games like tonight where he fits his game in a box, where he does it efficiently, where he does the little things, where you look up and it's almost a quiet, understated 20 on 8 of 11. Those are the games that show that he can contribute to winning on this team. I am less concerned or not concerned at all with the future superstardom or not. I could not care less about 2027, 2028, 2029. It's, can he get his game to a level this year and next that helps the Warriors win at a high level? And you may say, well, JD, what are you talking about? They're not winning at a high level right now. Exactly. And that has to be factored into the equation as well. I'm not playing the if and then game. Like, I'm not playing the what he does in the end of 24 and beginning of 25 concerns me with 28, 29. If you're concerned about 28, 29, then your vote should be make the move. Because that's not what this is about. This is about 25 now and 26 and maybe 27. So would you look to be inclined to get back into the Jimmy Butler business if you're the Warriors? And you know the Warriors have inquired, but they have been reluctant to include Wiggins and or Kuminga, in part because you don't know about, and it's been reported the Warriors are reluctant based on the availability of Jimmy Butler. I mean, he is truly a wild card. Jimmy Butler truly is a wild card in terms of his availability. And you would think that he would be highly motivated going to wherever he gets traded to now. And, Jimmy Butler, he's having his worst year scoring wise in now 11 years. He's under 18 points a game. And, how much of that is health? How much of that is age? How much of that is, and let's just be honest here, Jimmy Butler is a PTO guy. He is. He's like Paul George. He's kind of the older version of Paul George. He likes his PTO, general soreness, doesn't feel like playing, wants to sit this one out. But when Jimmy Butler's locked in, he is a dog. And he is a guy who can help lead a team to playoff series victories. We've seen him do it. So I still think it's tantalizing if you're the Warriors to want to inquire. But, man, the trade is incredibly difficult, I think, for the Warriors. And would they want to give up Wiggins and Kuminga to make it happen? Would that even get the job done? Remains to be seen. So, yeah, that's the latest on everything that's going on with Jimmy Butler. And stay tuned, as they say. And as if this thing didn't need to be ramped up anymore, the Heat are about to go on a road trip, Kyle. You know where the Heat are coming? You know where the Heat? The Heat are about to go. The Heat played tonight at home against Miami, but they are coming out west. They're coming out west to play on. They play one more at home on Saturday against Utah, and then they come to Sacramento Monday night, and they will be at Chase Center on Tuesday night. So they've got the Philly, Memphis, Sacramento, and then you play the Warriors, and that's a nationally televised game on Tuesday. Think there'll be any eyeballs on West Coast Jimmy Butler here coming up beginning on Monday?
Well, maybe he'll turn it up in front of his future crowd.
Well, maybe, but, I was talking to Nick Friedel, who co-hosted a show with me last week here on KNBR, the former ESPN reporter, and he covered Jimmy in Chicago and covered Jimmy in Minnesota, and then came out here and covered the Warriors at the end of the Durant years before getting moved around to follow KD to Brooklyn. And we were talking about, Andis Brown, Jimmy will be in Napa getting some wine. The game before Jimmy Butler got traded out of Minnesota, they played in Sacramento, and he quit. He straight up quit in the game down the stretch in Sacramento, and the next morning at 9 a.m. he got traded. Like it was a memorable, like he shut it down, like dogging it, going through the motions, not shooting, despondent on the bench. Like he basically quit on that Timberwolves team in a game in Sacramento that was actually reminiscent, kind of like the Philly game last night that they played in Sacramento. The Timberwolves were up in the fourth quarter, and he just gave up. And it was like, wow, what happened? And the next day, it was a Friday night, and the next morning he was gone. Like he was. So maybe maybe Jimmy will be on that tip again in Sacramento on Monday. But yeah, they play at home against the Jazz on Saturday night before coming out west for a trip, and we'll see. Pat Riley already put the statement out. We're not trading him. This has been a distraction. I wonder if that ultimately ends up changing. And again, I think there's going to be a lot of teams in the mix. Should the Warriors be in the mix? I think that is the question to continue to monitor here as the days roll on, with Jimmy Butler formally, officially wanting out of Miami. Says he's real happy off the court, but no longer has his joy and must recapture that joy elsewhere, anywhere else. And said he could make any team a contender as well. Any team. He said any of the other teams he felt he could. Just Jimmy's box out. He really, truly, the bleep show of Jimmy Butler coming to the Warriors. You think about it. There's a part of me, Kyle, that's like, just for that alone is like, I want to see it.
Right. Well, we'll also like mixing Jimmy's personality and ego with Draymond Green, who would never let something like that happen. Like I can imagine the two of them butting heads constantly.
Well, butting heads or just being absolute terrors on the rest of the league and opponents. It works both ways. But I think whoever gets Jimmy Butler in the short term is getting a really freaking motivated Jimmy Butler. Like I love, again, independent of who you got to give up. We can debate, do you give up Kuminga? Do you give up Wiggins? Kuminga's coming on again. It's enhancing his value. But again, the Kuminga conundrum is always when he plays like he did tonight and he has lately, it makes you less apt to want to trade him. It also, the sell high component to it, or the rest of the league may want to buy a future star if that in turn turns out to be what he is. So you have to evaluate all of that constantly. But I think whoever gets Jimmy Butler is getting a motivated Jimmy Butler. Now he's going to be motivated because he's going to want. Now he's going to be motivated because he's going to want to get paid, but he's going to want the team that acquires him and he'll have his bird rights and be able to extend him. They're going to want. He's going to show up and show out. So I think short term he's an excellent buy. But you don't only make trades for the short term. And even if you are somebody who makes trades for the short term, you're not making a trade for 3 months. You at least get 2 more years, I think, on top of this year out of it, which aligns with the Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, Steve Kerr timeline. But at what price? Are you willing to pay $50-60 million for Jimmy Butler over the course of that span? That's all what remains to be seen. So 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. It's Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader as the Warriors win tonight, 139-105. Excellent Stephen Curry game. Excellent Jonathan Kuminga game. The Warriors with some real positive contributions really up and down the sheet tonight as you look at where this thing is. I mean, Schroeder played well, 3 of 4 from three-point range. I think tonight was Dennis Schroeder's best game with the Warriors. 15 points, 6 assists, 4 boards, playing good defense, had a couple of steals. Steve Kerr's been adamant that Dennis Schroeder's going to find it. I really liked Dennis Schroeder's game in this one tonight. We've talked a lot about Kuminga. I think tonight was one of Kuminga's maybe top 5 games of the season, and he did it in a more understated way, which I think is, that's what makes him, be a player where you're more apt to think he can help on the Curry timeline when he kind of does it in this way. And it's less about the future superstardom. Don't tell Draymond Green that. And more about how can he fit his game in as a key cog in this Warriors operation for this year. Lindy Waters III contributed. I thought Draymond was excellent. 15, 7, and 6. I mean, the ball was just humming. 15, 7, and 4 for Wiggins. Warriors had 8 blocks in the game tonight. They were doing the thing tonight. Defense excellent, contesting shots. Yes, Philly in the second of a back-to-back, but all in all, added up, and it really is an excellent Warriors win. More from the YouTube chat here. Let's see, Joe Schmo. Pat H, 6-0 when he goes to games in person. Wow. So Pat is the wild card. Pat is the wild card there. Regulator, go get Jimmy. That's a vote for Jimmy. Read the Steed. They want to show Butler what they can do. Erwin Kwong, let's put a cork in the trade talks and let Kuminga tell us if he's the future or distant future. Not sure about that. Yes, and it is a New Year's Kolsch. Yes. Cheers to everybody. New Year's Kolsch here at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Yeah, Buddy Hield, he hit one. Tonight the beer was ready as I sat down, Joe. It was ready. Have a good night. See you guys. 808 KNBR. Appreciate everybody. The Jimmies and the Joes walking out the door here at Harmonic in Thrive City. More from the YouTube chat, and appreciate all our regulars here tonight as well. Again, one game, but an impressive game and a much needed game Gonzalo Naranjo. Hi, JD. Do you know why Kyle Anderson fell out of the rotation? Yeah, because Jonathan Kuminga has been playing great. And Kuminga plays the 4 and Draymond plays the 4, and that's pretty much 48 minutes of the 4 between those two guys. Wiggins has played a little bit of 4. He played, I think, a little 3-4 minute stretch early in the second quarter, maybe middle of the toward the middle of the second quarter. He had a little 4-minute stretch there where he played the 4. Actually, it might not even have been that. It might have been like 2.5, 3 minutes. But yeah, as you look at it, Kyle Anderson, you can only play so many. And Steve Kerr said pregame he would love to play Kyle Anderson more, but it's a situation where you have Draymond who's got to play, and you have Kuminga who's got to play, and he's playing well, and that means somebody's got to sit. And I think Kerr, as much as he's tinkered and adjusted the rotation, I think Steve Kerr is trying to pare it down a little bit. It's basically been TJD, Draymond, and Kuminga. Those have been the 3 bigs. Kuminga and Draymond at the 4, TJD and Draymond at the 5, splitting time there. So can you play Can you play Kyle Anderson and Kuminga together? I mean, I think you can, but then you're super small. Drew Clown, JK has definitely gotten a confidence boost. Yeah, he's been great. The cutting has been there, no doubt. GMG 26. Kuminga's potential greatness is in about 3 years if he keeps learning the game. They should keep him. He's the only future piece. Yeah, I mean, that's truly when you get into the Jaylen Brown comps, and I don't know that he's ever going to be Jaylen Brown the defender, but when you get into because Jaylen Brown was a excellent, he was a really good to excellent defender pretty young. It was the offensive game that needed to come along. But if he's going to be Jaylen Brown, he's going to be Jaylen Brown in 3-4 years and still be young at that point, by the way. Still be 25, 26, 27. So it's the long game. It's the long game for sure. But do you want to continue? And it truly is the question. And I know there are a lot of people out there that are like, don't trade him. If he's going to be a star, don't trade him, even if it's going to be a star when Curry's gone. I still think the question is, if he can't be a star on Curry's timeline, then you need to still look to move him. Short of that, though, and it relates to the way he played tonight, tonight was not a superstar performance. Tonight was an excellent core guy performance. And to me, it's more about can he play at this level that he did tonight on this Curry timeline. Because that's where you say maybe you look to trade others in an attempt to augment the roster that way and keep him around and try to bridge the gap where he's more of a high-end role player. Can he work his way into being a high-end role player? That, to me, is the question. It's not about future superstardom. So, again, and there's a debate to be had there, no doubt. And, we're going to have it, I think, each and every day. But the Warriors have to decide how they want to roll with it as it relates to what they want to risk. And trust me, Andis Brown, definitely agree. I'd rather JK get 17 to 20 in a game where the offense looks smooth and he's a key cog to the offense. Couldn't have said it better myself, Andis. I've been trying to for an hour, but I couldn't have said it better than Andis did right there in the YouTube chat. Gene, our buddy Gene, Kuminga's going to be elite. He said it a couple of times. He threw it at me on Twitter as he does every night. He may be. He may very well be. Again, I'm not necessarily ruling it out. But again, when is it going to be? Poor effort from Philly tonight. Yeah, Embiid slogging around tonight. Not pretty. But he was one of the more effective Philly players in this one, even if he had to get to the line a ton to wind up in that category. All right, 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Let's get AJ and Lathrop here real quick before we pause, and then we'll come back with Sounds of Dubs OT. What's going on, AJ?
What's going on, JD? How you doing, man? Look, I just have
I'm
a
good. You got a message for Friedel?
Yes, I do, sir. Yes, I do. Thank you. Just real quick. Next time you talk to Cousin Nick, and I love Cousin Nick. He's a great dude. I love his analysis. But you got to do me a favor and just tell him, please, do not call that a bonus chip, okay? That is not a bonus chip. That is legitimate, gutsy, all the way for down deep win, okay? If the only bonus chip in the NBA is the Lakers Mickey Mouse ring during the COVID years, okay? That's the bonus chip. They call it a bubble chip because it came out of the vending machine in a little bubble wrap, okay? So tell Nick Friedel, do not call it the bubble chip, or else I'm going to have him talk to my cousin, the Mexican-American Dream, and he's going to regret that. Thanks a lot, JD.
All right, AJ, appreciate you, man. I don't know about the last part there, but I appreciate you. And yeah, no, I mean, look, Nick's not shading that championship. What he's saying is, and I'm reluctant to speak for Nick, but what he's saying is, hey, nobody thought they were going to win another one, and then they won another one. And maybe some within the Warriors organization who have admitted this didn't think they were going to win another one, and then they won another one. So that I don't think that's shade. But no, we appreciate you listening, and I'll make sure I send that one out to Cousin Nick. 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. Let's go ahead and take a break. We'll come back. We'll get Sounds of Dubs OT. We'll get more from the YouTube chat. Fun with numbers as well on a fun night at Chase as the Warriors get the win over the Philadelphia 76ers. 139-105 is the final. Right here, KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Did you hear something?
Yeah, like a swoosh.
Yeah.
Dubs OT presents the sounds of silver. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
All right, welcome back. Dubs OT with JD here from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Might make this the final segment here as we got going a little bit earlier tonight. Game ended, I can't remember the last 7 o'clock game that ended before 9:30, but we were on the air and ready to roll right at 9:30, and appreciate everybody in the YouTube chat. Appreciate everybody listening and calling and texting. Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line 139 to 105 is the final. Warriors get the win over the Philadelphia 76ers. It is now time for Dubs OT and our sounds of Dubs OT here on the Sports Leader. And let's get to it. And as always, we like to start with the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr. We were talking about pace early on and how it was just noticeably apparent that the Warriors were looking to play a lot faster, and they were crisp from the jump. Steve Kerr made a point to note that in his post-game press conference, and here's what the head coach had to say.
Well, it sets up everything. When we push the ball, made or missed, we just have more time with the shot clock. You put a lot of pressure on the defense, and you get into the offense faster. You know, you just race the ball up the floor. Good things happen in general. So I thought that was a big key tonight.
Yeah, and again, when you're playing good defense and the opponent is missing shots, I think it makes it easier to do it. But you could tell there was just a concerted effort from the Warriors to play a lot faster than they've been playing, and it really benefited. I think when you do that, as Steve mentions, you get into a rhythm offensively. It makes shots more apt to go in. I think it gives your offense a better chance in that flow to be able to get guys going and get guys feeling good about the way that they're playing. Let's hear from Stephen Curry next here as he talked on TNT and their post-game interview about trying to turn energy into success. He certainly did that in this one.
I think it's just about controlling what you can. Like, we haven't had a lot to be happy about for a few weeks. I made the first three, and I went a little over the top with the celebration just to try to infuse that joy into the game. It allows us to play with confidence. Two, it gets our crowd into it. And you can't control whether the ball goes in or not, but the energy we've been playing on defense has been great. But can we translate that to success on offense? And when we're playing together, having fun, smiling, shooting with confidence, great things happen.
Yeah, and great things did happen for the Warriors tonight. Again, that cut courtesy of TNT. You know what I liked about it most of all is the fact that Steph Curry was taking the first shot. Like, aggressive Curry early in the game is what the Warriors need. And he had, I think, 11 in the first half and then 13 in the first 8 minutes of the third quarter. And look, he's at a point where he has to pace himself. He is at a point where he has to pick and choose and salvage his energy at different points. But I think this team needs him playing at an extremely high level early in the game and having others rise to the occasion around him. And so I don't think this team is good enough to kind of let Curry sit back, lay back, see if other guys are getting it going on a given night. If they do, great, but I think he needs to be the tone setter a lot of the time in that first shift. And he was the guy tonight with that first shot. And it does become infectious. When Steph plays, when he's doing things like he did tonight, everybody in the building feels it and everybody watching at home feels it. And so I think getting off to a good start and hitting that first shot bodes well for a good night. And I think the Warriors are hoping it bodes well for a good year ahead here in 2025. All right, from Steph Curry, we move to Draymond Green. here on our Sounds of Dubs OT from the Bill King interview room and Chase Center, which sits behind me here as we're back at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Cheers to everybody as well. And we've got Mike and Julia behind the bar here at the controls at Harmonic and Thrive City. Draymond Green discussing the Warriors' pared down rotation. We were discussing this ourselves to begin the show tonight. And yeah, the Warriors basically only playing him and Kuminga and Trace Jackson Davis among bigs. It's been Moody and Wiggins basically as the threes. Dennis Schroeder is subbing out, and Buddy Hield is subbing in. Hield and Waters. It's basically been those guys that are playing the bulk of the minutes in this one. And the Warriors, I think, are better when Steve Kerr uses a shorter rotation, basically a 9-man rotation for the Warriors tonight. And here Draymond addressed the benefits of paring it down.
Yeah, it definitely helps. To get in that routine, find the flow, know where your minutes are coming. When you know where your minutes are coming at, you know where your shots are coming from. You end up out there with the same group of guys. You can build some familiarity, So I think it's, it definitely helps, but we can change nothing. Like, we still got to try to win some games and figure it out.
Yeah, and look, it all boils down to winning. Again, I think there was a much more orderly rotation early in the year, even though Steve Kerr was playing 12, 13 players on a lot of nights. You can play a lot of guys and still have an orderly rotation. And again, this is a chicken and the egg statement that I'm going to make. But when the Warriors were struggling, the rotation felt all over the map. Now, did the rotation feel all over the map because the Warriors were struggling? Or were they struggling because the rotation was all over the map? I think it's a little bit of both, to be perfectly honest. So that, though, has been cleaned up a little bit of late. It hasn't necessarily resulted in a significant and consistent amount of winning. But I do think Steve Kerr is on the right track with it. The key to keeping the rotation consistent, though, is not having a lot of guys in and out who need nights off or rest and avoiding injury. Because one or two injuries, even if they're short-term injuries, start messing with and mucking up the entire rotation again. But as it stands right now, you look at this thing and it's, Podziemski's been hurt, which has taken him out of the equation completely. It's allowed, I think, Lindy Waters to get some run. Buddy Hield has struggled, but he's still somebody that's going to play every night. So it's basically Steph and Schroeder in the backcourt. Hield's been coming in for Schroeder. Schroeder's been coming in for Steph. Lindy Waters has been splitting some time with Hield in that backup role. Moody's been Wiggins' backup. And it's been TJD, Draymond, and Kuminga. Kuminga came in for TJD tonight. TJD came in as the backup center, or TJD came in for Draymond. Draymond was the backup center when Kuminga came in. Slides to the 5. And I think that might be the best of all worlds for the way Steve Kerr wants to do it right now, just in terms of limiting Draymond having to start at the 5, but also allowing him and Kuminga to play together in a manner that I think is most successful for Kuminga. I think when those two are on the court together, Kuminga plays his best. I think Kuminga plays his best when he's on the court with Steph and with Draymond. But again, sometimes the Warriors are a little small in those instances. Sometimes the defense isn't great in those instances. Regardless of all of that, as we've said many times this season, the Warriors aren't good enough to be too picky with the way they want to configure their rotation. I think the short and sweet rotation, basically a 9-man rotation tonight, and it's been that way, I think, really for the last week or so. I think that is the best template for the Warriors to start to have some success and maybe get things going. Dennis Schroeder, I thought one of his best games, if not his best, with the Warriors. Good game against Phoenix in the win on Saturday. Good game tonight. We talked about Schroeder's line. He was a plus 17 tonight. Best plus minus for Schroeder in any individual game. 15 points, 6 assists, 4 boards, couple of steals. He was active. Schroeder is an intelligent player, and Steve Kerr has said a couple of times here within the last week that Schroeder is such an intelligent player that he's going to figure it out. And Dennis Schroeder spoke post-game about how he's tried to figure it out and adjust.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, the last couple of years, what they've been doing has been working, and it's great. And for me, I played with a lot of people in my career, and I always can adjust. And whatever they ask me, to do, I'm always ready for it. But it's gonna take a little bit of time.
Yeah, it is going to take time. And again, I think we're seeing some signs here of these guys starting to kind of figure it out a little bit. Come on over. You come on over. You come on. We are on the air. It was Chris, right? Yeah, Chris, appreciate you. We're great game tonight. Great game. I mean, you can't get a better game. But Chris, I want to give you go ahead. Chris is going to get he's going to get his shot.
Hey, we were yelling at Embiid from 218.
Love it. I love it. We good? Yeah. He's still, yeah. Well, he did. A lot of it was free throws, though. A lot of it was, I mean, the game was just bogging down. Yes. Yeah. I don't think they're looking to move him. He's starting to figure it out. We were just talking about that. He's starting to figure it out. Chris, thanks, man. We'll see. Well, we'll see about that. I don't know. We'll see about that. They're looking to make moves. Thank you. You guys have a good night. Appreciate, again, you stop by, say hi. I'm all for the photo op, Kyle. Anybody that wants a picture with my ugly mug, like, I'm all about it. Like, let's go. Like, I will pause the show. It's like our state. We're going to pause 10 seconds so I can take a picture with Chris. Like, I'm all good with it.
Hey, Kuminga.
Chris. Pay Kuminga. That's right. You know what? That's got to go in even if I disagree with it, that's got to go in the close. That's got to go in it's not Michael Malone level, but you know what? It does take balls. It does take class to walk up to JD. Nope. Opposite of that. It takes class and balls to walk up on JD at Harmonic and say, "Pay Kuminga." That is gutsy. That is gutsy.
Hey, Kuminga.
Not gutless. Pay Kuminga. Yeah, that's got to go in there. It's all good. And the Warriors may wind up paying Kuminga. He keeps playing like this. They may very well wind up paying Kuminga. All right, let's get our final clip here as I switch screens. And it's Charles Barkley. What is a Warrior night on TNT in the final year of the Warriors and the NBA on TNT? What is a Dubs OT sounds a Dubs OT without hearing from Charles Barkley on a night where the Warriors play? But it's not about the Warriors. Well, I guess he made it about the Warriors and Klay Thompson. The fellas were discussing the Jimmy Butler situation, and Charles compared it to Klay Thompson with the Warriors. Let's hear Chuck.
You know what it is? Klay Thompson is 100 the same situation as Klay Thompson. The Warriors says, Klay, you've been great.
But we can't keep going.
We can't pay you for what you used to be. Pat Riley has made a decision. Denver got one more year for $55 million. He wants an extension. Pat Riley let Dwayne Wade go. This is the exact same situation, in my opinion, with Klay Thompson. They made a business decision. He made the same business decision with Klay Thompson they did in Golden State. Pat made the same decision with Dwayne Wade. He's making the same decision with Jimmy Butler. And Jimmy's upset. And what Jimmy's going to have to do is start packing this stuff up.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I think that the one thing we know is Jimmy's going to be gone eventually. Like, whether it's in a couple of weeks or a couple of days or in the offseason. I mean, you don't ramp it up the way Butler and his camp. By the way, you think the agent, Kyle, you think his agent is going to deny the latest report? Pretty hard to deny a report. Pretty hard to deny a report that you're leaking. That you know what that is? That's also gutsy and ballsy when you're denying a report that you're leaking to Shams and Brian Windhorst that you want out. and then you're denying the report. Yeah. And the Heat are coming out here. The Heat are coming out west. Look for Jimmy Butler Sunday in Napa. Look for Jimmy Butler looking for places to get a good cup of coffee on the I-80 corridor Sunday with the Heat traveling to Sacramento and then the bus ride on Monday night after they play the Kings.
I want to get my joy back. I'm happy here, off the court. But
I mean, incredible, right? I mean, just epic. Come on, you got to want the bleep show. You got to want the Jimmy Butler bleep show in the Bay. Right, Kai? I mean, you got to want it.
I want to get my joy back. I'm happy here, off the court.
Off the court. Yeah, Miami's a nice place off the court. But, again, I don't know that you want to end up in a stare down with Pat Riley, even at 80 years old or 81 or however old Pat Riley is. Pat Riley's definitely in his 80s. But, yeah, you don't want to mess around. Oh, not quite. My bad. Sorry, Pat. Pat's going to be 80 this year. Sorry, Pat. Pat's going to be 80 in March. For some reason, I thought Pat was already 80. But, yeah. Pat's going to celebrate his 80th birthday by shipping Jimmy Butler somewhere is what he's going to do. All right, let's go ahead and pause here. That's it for Sounds of Dubs OT. Let's take one more break. We'll clear the deck. We'll come back, and we'll wrap things up with some fun with numbers and a few more comments from the YouTube chat. Warriors get a win, really the first blowout win since the middle of November. I think we pinpointed the last blowout win. We'll do that in Fun with Numbers as well. As it is, Dubs OT with JD here on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
This is Dubs OT with JD. Time now for fun.
I'm a fun guy.
With numbers.
No, I'm just having fun.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live on KNBR.com and the KNBR app.
All right, Warriors win tonight, 139-105. We're back here, Dubs OT with JD. We've secured the last Warriors blowout. There were not any in December. We confirmed that earlier. Last Warriors blowout, November 20th, so the week before Thanksgiving, November the 20th, Warriors beat the Hawks 120-97. Then they went to New Orleans and won, and they were 12-3 after they beat New Orleans, and then went 3-12 then from then on, the next 15 to get to 15 and 15 on the year. No blowout wins for the Warriors at any point in December. They beat Houston close. They beat Minnesota with a nice victory down the stretch. One in Minnesota, playing well down the stretch in that one to put the game away but win by 10. And then the game against Phoenix, the Warriors won by 4. So 6, 4, 8, and 10, the Warriors' most recent 4 wins, that last blowout going all the way back to November the 20th. Final segment here before we get to some more fun with numbers here on Dubs OT. Do want to make note of a couple of other post-game quotes here. One from Steve Kerr. Kerr made a point to point out, and this didn't make the cut for sounds of Dubs OT, but Steve Kerr saying, quote, "We need to cherish these nights. Steph is not going to be around forever. One of the most beautiful basketball players who's ever lived." Wanted to make sure we just got that in. We touched on it a little bit at the beginning of the show. I mean, tonight, above everything, I think you do need to make note of it if you were in the building or watching it or doing a post-game show. That, I mean, truly some special stuff from Stephen Curry in this one tonight. Draymond Green said there is zero doubt Jonathan Kuminga will become a superstar now that he's solidified a role that he's comfortable with. And yeah, he's comfortable playing the 4, which wasn't the case coming into this season. So that box is checked. And I think for the time being, not forever, but for the time being, he's comfortable coming off the bench, which I think is what helps this Warriors team the most. And if he can be a guy who's going to step on the floor and can get you 20 off the bench and do it the way that he did it tonight and the way that he's done it lately, that bodes extremely well for the Warriors here moving forward. So final couple of minutes here. We'll get a few final thoughts from the YouTube chat as well, but wanted to get to our fun with numbers tonight as the Warriors now 2 of the last 3 in the win column, 17-16 overall, 9-8 at home. The true test is going to be, can the Warriors separate? No Ja Morant for Memphis. He's been out and continues to be out, not going to play tomorrow as the Grizzlies play in Sacramento. And this is another one where the Warriors are going to have the rest advantage. The Warriors have the off day tomorrow and then play Memphis on Saturday. Grizzlies are going to be second of a back-to-back. Now, the Warriors are not going to have the rest advantage at home against Sacramento on Sunday. Kings will have a night off, but take advantage of the Grizzlies' rest advantage, take advantage of the Kings' dysfunction, although they've played better, at least more competitively, the last couple of games under Doug Christie. Not necessarily as well, but more competitively. Like, to me, the Warriors need to turn tonight into a 3-game winning streak. And then the Heat come in, who are in shambles themselves with all the Jimmy Butler. Like, turn this into a 4-0 stretch before you go on the road to face Detroit and Indiana. This is it's not going to be easy, but there are some wins to be had if the Warriors can truly build off of the way they played tonight. Warriors have won the last 4 overall against Philadelphia, swept the season series a year ago. They've won the last 4 in the Bay Area as well. As the Warriors' hot shooting night, that the order of the night tonight for the Dubs, 60.9% from the field. Their previous high field goal percentage game was in the opener, 51.6. So the Warriors had not been shooting it well, but 60.9 tonight ended a 22-game streak. Think about this for a second. The Warriors, the last 22 games, hadn't shot 50% from the field. It goes literally all the way back to the night of Klay Thompson's return through the game on Saturday against the Phoenix Suns in the victory. That is incredible. I mean, that is 6 straight weeks you don't have one game where you shoot 50%. The Warriors' three-point output, incredible. They had the 50% three-point output against Dallas that ended in defeat, 56.4%. Warriors had a season-high 41 assists. So they were moving the ball. They were playing with pace. Warriors also most points scored at home in any game this season. The Warriors had 140 in the season opener at Portland, a blowout victory against the Blazers. Steph, just superb in this one, 8 for 8 from three-point range. We mentioned it off the top of the show. We'll reiterate now. That is the most three-pointers that Steph has made in a game where he was perfect. Had his best had been 6th, and he did it one time last year and one time in his rookie year 15 years ago in January of 2010. The all-time record for perfection is 9 straight three-point attempts to begin a game and finish with a 100% shooting prowess from distance. 30 points, 10 assists, 6th 30-point game of the season. First player in NBA history to make at least all 8 of his three-point attempts and have 10 assists. So Stephen Curry getting the job done on that front. Draymond Green, 15 points, 12th game scoring at least 10. He had 6 boards, 7 assists, 3 blocks in 31 minutes. And Dennis Schroeder made his 1,000th career three-pointer. Excellent night, I thought, from Dennis Schroeder in the Warriors' victory. And, wonderful stuff from Golden State in this one as the Warriors end up getting the win. And the Warriors improved to 17-16 on the season. All right, that's going to do it. Few more here just real quick from the YouTube chat as we got into the Jimmy Butler conversation. I wanted to make sure we paid off some comments there as we started to discuss it there at the beginning of the 10 o'clock hour here. Yes, Anthony Garcia sighting as well as Otis Bird III. Giving Anthony Garcia a shout out. What's going on, Anthony? Good to see you, my man. Great work as always. Repping. But yeah, the chat, the Dubs OT chat always notices when the great Anthony Garcia is in the house. Big thanks to Otis Bird III for chiming in on that. Jimmy trying to find his joy. Yeah, Jimmy's trying to find that joy. There's no question about it. Pat H., the cheers for Curry during introductions. Every game is exponentially louder than every player. It's amazing. Yeah, that is truly something. If you're in the building every night, you do learn and appreciate. Andis Brown, I don't feel bad for Jimmy. Dude charged $20 for a cup of coffee when he was in the bubble during COVID. Big Face Coffee. I don't remember Big Face. I didn't remember the name of it, but I do remember he was brewing his own coffee in the bubble as they were making their run to the finals, one of their 2 runs to the finals here. Jimmy not going to help the Warriors. No thanks on Jimmy. John J. We had a vote in the Ariana Selena conversation that was going on earlier. And that was as an entertainer, by the way. That was not anything else. For that was just to clarify. Like we were talking entertainment value, not anything else. I think people got a little lost in that in the chat. Jimmy will need load management nights. That, from what I've heard, is the biggest concern about the Warriors with Jimmy is the load management nights, and that they want to make sure that he's going to be engaged night in, night out. I think he is going to be engaged again, but you still are going to have to load manage him, and you're load managing Steph. Do you load manage him on the same night? Do you pick and choose? I think it's going to be interesting to see, does Steph play both of the games against the Grizzlies and the Kings? I think he probably will, but the Warriors have given some hints lately that they're out of the Steph Curry playing every back-to-back business. And I think if one of those is on the road, he's going to start not playing the game on the road if it's a home road back-to-back. Again, the national television rules dictate that he has to miss certain games over others, but I know Steph's going to want to be out there on Saturday night after the way that he performed tonight. So I think he's playing Saturday. The question will be, does he play Sunday? I think he's going to want to play against Sacramento as well. But Rich Ray, lo and behold, JD starting to warm up on Kuminga. I'm not that cold on Kuminga. I'm not as cold as people think on Kuminga. But we don't have to have the superstar conversation every night. Draymond disagrees. Draymond went all in. Like, I guess I thought there could be one night. Yeah, I thought we could have one night where a good Jonathan Kuminga game wouldn't mean we had to talk about him being a superstar in the future, and Draymond wanted none of it. Draymond wanted none of it. So respect Draymond. I mean, if you're going to bring it out, we shall see. LM, JK is the future piece that the Warriors will trade for more future assets down the road. Yeah, and then, John J. Kuminga would have to be more than just some role player if everybody else isn't hot like they were tonight. No doubt. But, again, the best path for the Warriors is to be good enough in other areas to where you don't have to put that load on Jonathan Kuminga this year. That is the issue. And so we'll see. And again, the Warriors are not immune from continuing to look for trades to be made. So that'll do it. We'll call it a night on that note. Kyle, who else do we need to thank tonight?
Our guy, Ryan McCarthy.
All right. So for Brian McCarthy and for Kyle Haar and for Anthony Garcia, I'm JD. We're back on Saturday, a quick edition of Just Dubs, 11 to 12, and then back for Dubs OT immediately following the Warriors and the Grizzlies. Busy weekend. We will be on after the Warriors and the Kings on Sunday as well. Both of those from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. So stop by, say hi. We appreciate you as always. Get your 5 seconds of fame. Get your selfie with JD. We can do that and put one on the JD tab. That's all good. It's all good. Still stands in 2025. Warriors win it 139 to 105. We will talk to you Saturday right here. KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
9 assists as well. He's just feeling it. Okay. What is going on here?
What is absolutely happened? The greatest shooter our game has ever seen is perfect from downtown.
Emirates Cup or bust?
Oh, hell yeah.
First of all, you gotta start off liking each other.
I'm super cereal.
Big fat dub.
Ain't nobody going to stop me.
I just wake up and I can shoot it no matter if I'm playing or not.
But great win.
Who are these guys?
I love you, JD. Bye, sugar.
Hey, Kuminga.